Welcome to another edition of Kendrick's News, Views, and Reviews. And the link for this article will be in the description. And also, this video will be strictly for your benefit, for your help, and also is only my opinion. Please like this video, leave your comments, and most importantly, subscribe. Now, for all of my LG Stylo users, all of my LG Stylo subscribers, you guys have been with me for a while now since the original LG Stylo, and now we're at the LG Stylus 2. The name has changed. There's a few things that has changed from the original phablet that has made this phablet per se better. Now, this is not a rant. This is strictly, like I said, my opinion. You guys, please leave your comments. But you're hearing people say that they like some things that were with the original LG Stylo. As far as like the optic stabilization, the OIS, that's missing. And a couple small features. But to say the least, we're going to take some of the reviews from the experts and we're going to put those into play right here. The LG Stylus is hitting on all the right notes. It's not particularly fast or powerful, but the LG Stylus is the budget phablet to buy for avid note takers. Now there's a look at it, as you can see. And the rating that this reviewer gave it is 4 out of 5 stars. Now, also, the LG Stylus 2, has been released for only 2 carriers. Number 1 was Boost, who got it originally in the United States. And the second carrier on the 13 would be Cricket. Okay, let's do some specs here. The processor is the quad core 1.2 gigahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon 410. The screen size is a 5 by 7 inch. The screen resolution is 1280 by 720. The rear camera is a 13 megapixel. The storage is 16 gigabytes. Wireless data, it could be up to 3G to 4G. The size is 155 by 80 by 7.4 millimeters. The weight is 140 grams and is operating off of Android 6.0.1. Now, big difference for the Boost mobile fans will be the rear camera, which is 13, which they had 8 originally from the LG Stylo, and they're coming out of the box with Android 6.0 instead of the Lollipop 5.1. Big improvement for Boost. But the processor basically is the same as the original LG Stylo. So if you're looking for big specs on this new phablet, you're basically getting the same specs, just some new additions, small minor things, but it's still a plus, not a minus, okay? The LG G4 Stylus never made it to the UK, so its successor, simply called the Stylus 2, will be the first stylus-equipped phone to make an appearance in the UK shops in years. It's particularly good news for those after a bit of phablet bargain, as if the SIM-free is almost half the price of the Samsung Galaxy Note 4. The only other phone with the stylus you can officially buy in the UK today with the Note 5, only available as a gray import. Of course, part of the reason why the Stylus 2 doesn't cost the earth is due to the decidedly entry-level tech inside it, powered by a quad-core 1.2 gigahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon 410 processor. It's not that much faster than your typical budget handset, and its 5.7-inch 1280 by 720 resolution display pales in comparison to the 2560 1440 resolution of its Note rivals. But let's talk about the display. That said, when the Stylus 2 still has a respectable pixel density of 250 ppi, you begin to wonder whether sky-high resolution numbers are really all that necessary. The Stylus 2, for instance, still looked pretty sharply at normal viewing distance, and it was only when I really got up close that I could start to make out a few jagged edges around its text and app icons. It even took a bit of squinting. Here's another look at it. Beautiful display, to say the least. The quality of the screen is reasonably good too, with this sRGB color gamut coverage of 71.6% could be better. Its contrast ratio of 1259 by 1 was much more respectable, and a black level of 0.28 CD slash M2 at maximum brightness is also highly impressive. This meant that blacks looked deep and inky even on high brightness levels, and images had plenty of detail on show. Colors admittedly look flat, thanks no doubt to its rather poor red and blue representation of the sRGB gamut, but it's certainly not the worst phone screen I've ever seen, and its max brightness of 362.59 CD slash MT is more than enough to see clearly outdoors too. There's even a blue light filter in order to reduce the levels of such light, which may help you sleep if you're using your device late at night. Now let's talk about the newest addition, which is the Stylus pen, okay? The Stylus, then of course, there's the Stylus 2 T-Tiller pen. This long 107 millimeter one is incredibly slim, but its semi-soft round nib is great for jotting stuff down quickly. It doesn't have any kind of sprint loading mechanism, sadly, forcing you instead to pry it out with your nail. But this isn't too much of a chore. In fact, it's located on top of the phone, means it shouldn't fall out accidentally if you forget to push it back in incorrectly or push it back in correctly. Once the stylus has been removed, the phone automatically launches the pen Pop overlay to give you quick access to Pop Memo, Quick Memo, Capture Plus, Pop Scanner. The first two are basic note taking apps, allowing you to scribble down quick reminders, while Capture Plus takes an image of what's currently on screen and lets you annotate it. Pop Scanner, on the other hand, doesn't really require the stylus at all, as this has been primarily been designed to straighten image things like presentations you're taking at an angle. Open the app would automatically launch the camera, for example, and it will then detect what needs to be straightened once you're taking a photo. Admittedly, using stylus to alter the cropping image is a lot easier than trying to use your fingers, but stylus otherwise use. You can also add another app to the pen pop shortcut list, but it's shame you can't customize it with more apps or switch LG's predefined lineup for stylus friendly apps and you use it more regularly. The performance, so forth, so note like, but the main difference between the Stylus 2 and the Note 4 and 5 is the day to day speed. The quad core is 1.2 gigahertz Snapdragon 410 processor and a 1.5 gigabytes of RAM at its disposal. The Stylus can feel a bit slow and jerky at times, but betrays its more budget oriented roots. It showed in our peacekeeping browsing benchmark too, as the stylus managed to a score of just 503, putting it behind Snapdragon 410 equipped LG phones. There's the Leon and the Spirit that are almost half the price. It's certainly one of the lowest web browsing scores I've seen from this type of processor, but thankfully its general performance scores were a lot more promising. Now, in Geekbench, for example, the stylus scored 469 in single core and 1403 in multi core tests, put it in front of Leon and the Spirit, and behind the third gen Moto G. It still got some way to go before it reaches the same as the Galaxy Note 5, which finishes 1469 and 5096 respectively, but then the Note does cost considerably more. The stylus isn't bad for playing games either. It may struggle with complex 3D games, as it only produced a rather pitiful 110 frames or 1.8 frames per second in the off-screen Manhattan 3.0 test in GFX Bench GL. Animations are a little jittery here and there, but it's not bad. But it works perfectly fine. So if you're planning on installing a lot of apps, you probably need to make use of the Stylus SD card. It only has 10 gigabytes of its default 16 gig storage available. The battery life, Stylus has 3000 milliamp battery, should provide plenty power for heavy media users, as it's managed 11 hours and 30 minutes on continuous video playback. And admittedly, it was hoping for a little more, considering it doesn't have a high resolution screen to power. But even the Note 5 only managed an hour more under the same conditions. So the stylus is more than able to hold its own against this year's heavyweights. Now, I want you guys to definitely like this video. Leave your comments. So far, so good for the LG Stylus 2 in my book. Subscribe later.